Welcome to There's a Method to the Madness. My name is Rob Maxwell. I'm an exercise physiologist and personal trainer. I'm the owner of Maxwell's Fitness Programs, and I've been in business since 1994. The purpose of this podcast is to get to the real deal of what really works and what doesn't work. Hence the name Method to the Madness. Today I have a special guest, the former mayor of New Smyrna Beach, Mr. Adam Berenger. An old classmate of mine from New Smyrna Beach, Barracudas, and he is the former mayor of New Smyrna Beach. And we have hooked back up, and because I see Adam doing a lot of different events and I know he's super fit, so I wanted to get him on the podcast so we can talk a lot about what he does to stay sharp and continue to stay sharp for his great company, which is Sonapa, which I'm sure you heard of. So, Adam, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic today.
All right. It's good to see you. So, last weekend, we did the Red Line Relay out at the Speedway, which is a bike race. It was it 50 miles or 52 miles?
I think it was 52 miles. It was 15 miles around the track at Daytona, and it was, man, how exciting was it? It was a lot of fun.
It was super fun. We had, 12 teams, I think?
15.
15, wow.
15, yeah.
15 teams. And for those listening, it was set up kind of like in the pit crews, so you can have your own little pit, so it kind of felt cool. You come in and you exchange bikes, and then the next cyclists go out, so you felt like you're really racing. But I tell you what, I had a blast racing out on that track.
It was a lot of fun. And of course, you had you had the ringer on your team.
Yes, I was very lucky to get a ringer. I didn't earn that, but this guy's a professional triathlete and one of the best cyclists in the world. And he was on our team, and he stayed out there the whole time, and then the rest of my team, us three, just kind of like rotated. And I think you had a team of 8.
We had a team of 8 called Team Rocket. It was a bunch of pilots, good friends, good customers, good friends, all live up in Spruce Creek Fly-In. And so we had a blast. You know, we had a tent set up out there, food, drinks. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so one of your teammates is a husband of one of my clients, it turned out. I was talking about the race, and she said, oh, my husband raced a bike race out there. And then we put it together that he was actually on your team.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
Jack,
it's a small world.
He's a pilot for JetBlue.
Yes, JetBlue, that's it.
Yeah.
So how did you guys end up doing?
So believe it or not, as I'm on the course, I'm watching your team finish, I'm watching the next team finish, and I'm thinking, well, there's 15 teams, where are we? And I thought we finished third in our division.
That's good.
Yeah, it was great.
Nothing wrong with that. That's very, very good.
Yeah.
Did you end up getting on the banks at all? Like, did you plan those?
Nah, listen, I stayed safe.
You stayed low?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little funny story about that. So I was telling Ellen after the race, I'm sure you've seen like NASCAR events.
Yeah.
So you know how like when the lead pack is like really hauling ass?
Yeah.
And then there's that car that breaks down on the low part of the track?
Right, yeah.
So that's how I felt, because I was down there doing my thing, and we're like, as I said, our team's switching out laps, and here comes the lead group of Andrew, the guy on my team, and 4 other guys, and they like blow by me on the high side. And my teammate goes, hey, you want a Coke? And like, I'm giving it all I have, and he just blows by me. I felt like that little guy in the track that everybody watches and goes, why don't they just pull out?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, listen, I'll tell you, though, it was a lot of fun. Got to give credit to Bill Christie and the whole Clash endurance. I mean, it was a weekend of, they did a 5K on Friday night. They were showing movies out there. Yeah. And then Saturday, I think they had sprint
triathlons,
they had children's division.
Yep.
Then, there was it was just a great
half iron event on Sunday.
Yep, half iron. Yep.
Had some friends that did that, and that's, I was very lucky. I got a free entry due to knowing one of the ambassadors well, and I wish everybody who's into endurance sports would do this event. Yeah. Because it's a local event. I mean, come support it.
Yeah.
And they did a fantastic job with like the food and the atmosphere, the awards. And they were so nice.
Oh, yeah. So I'm telling you, next year, I'm thinking bringing the RV out there and doing the 5K on Friday,
do the whole thing.
Do a sprint in the morning, do the relay, and then roll right into doing the half distance.
There you go.
I'm saying it now because if I put out that big goal, then it gives me something to work for.
Hey, here it is. You heard it. So now he's got to do it.
I know.
We'll be checking on him.
All right.
So that's a good segue. You and I were texting a couple months ago, and I learned that you did ultras.
Yes.
That's amazing. Can you tell everybody a little bit what ultras are?
Well, let me start by saying this. You brought up the fact that I was mayor of New Smyrna Beach, and so I'm mayor of New Smyrna Beach, and I was taking a tour of the police department, the new facility, and behind the police department is a SWAT training course, and it's this awesome obstacle course. And I was thinking, man, how could we use that as a backdrop and do some kind of cool fitness challenge for the city? And I Googled Mayor's Fitness Challenge, and there was nothing out there. There was, I think, maybe Oklahoma. There was maybe Oklahoma City, I don't know, where a mayor did some kind of weight loss challenge for the city. He challenged the city to lose 1 million pounds or something crazy like that.
Right.
But there was nothing out there for a fitness challenge, and so we started from scratch the Mayor's Fitness Challenge, and today they have it across the nation in many different cities.
What year was this that you started that?
So the idea came to us in 2010, and I think the first year was 2011. And so going through the process, I met, we had trainers that would help train the participants. And one of the trainers was this girl named Kelly Corey, and she worked at the time
I know her.
At Heartland, back in, what was it, Heartland Fitness?
Yeah.
Or Heartland Rehabilitation in New Smyrna. Anyway, she was like a physical therapist there, and then she was getting into racing because her husband was, I think, over in Afghanistan or Iraq. And so she, in order to take her mind off of him being overseas fighting, that she got really big into triathlons, and she encouraged me to do that. So I think I did my first triathlon in 2015. And then I started out with sprint triathlons, and I went from sprint, went to the Olympic distance, and then from the Olympic distance to doing half Ironman, from half Ironman to doing full Ironman. And I got to tell you, doing a full Ironman sucks.
What would you say is harder, that or the ultra?
Well, no. So then, I don't know. It's all, I'm sitting here looking at mindset as everything.
Yeah.
If you know you're going to do a race, you're going to do an Ironman, your mind is set that you're going to do that in, let's say, the amount of hours that you have. But when it comes to doing an ultra, usually it's spread over 2 days or 3 days, and it's pretty intense when you get done doing 11 hours of rigorous swimming, cycling, and then running, and then you go to sleep and you get up the next day and you do it again. I did a race called Florida Extreme. It started in Crystal River and ended up in Palm Coast, and it was 300 miles over the course of 3 days, and it was pretty awesome.
You done one or?
So I did that, and then I did a race. It was called it was from Key West. It was from Key Biscayne to Key West, and it was called City to Sea. So basically going from Miami to Key West, and so it was a little bit different. I kayaked. I think it was a 33-mile kayak.
Lord. And
then got out of the kayak. That was day one, and day two. Cycled from Key Largo to the tip of Key West, and then did a 13-mile run to Smothers Beach. But yeah, those are the two that I've done.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So sometimes though, like the shorter, like the Ironman, even though it's hard to fathom calling that shorter, is almost harder because, like you said, there's a time component.
Right.
Like there's a race goal.
Yep.
Component versus a survival component.
Yeah.
But did you find that, or did you find that like one was ultimately harder than the other?
No, I would tell you that doing the ultra race was, at the end of day one, I thought I was spent, but I had Normatec boots. I recovered well. I got up the next morning, and it was, at the time, I did this in, I think it was 2019 when I did that. And man, it was cold when I did it. The water I was swimming in was ice cold. But I think those are good things. It helped me recover first thing in the morning, snap me back into it, and then on the bike, and and then hit repeat the third day.
Yeah, that would be hard because you're used to kind of getting it done and then like recovering the next day, but you had to get up and do it again.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a guy locally I've spoke about on the podcast before named Rob Kish. I don't know if you know.
Yeah.
So he did RAM, and it was like, I think 12 consecutive days of getting up, and he averaged like 1 hour sleep per night over that. So I couldn't imagine, but he is like, crazy on the bike, So that's pretty cool. So what would you say is your motivation to do all that?
Yeah, so I don't know if there's a motivation.
Like you were always athletic. I remember like through school you played basketball. Did you play football too?
Back then I was too skinny to play football. And, so played basketball, lifeguarded growing up. And so there was always that physical fitness aspect of my life, and I kind of got away from it a little bit. Once I got into a career being in the restaurant industry, but I really, going through the Mayor's Fitness Challenge, it made me realize, and I'm thinking, man, I'm 225, 6'2", and then when I started looking at the metrics, as I'm sure okay, what does that mean? It means I'm obese,
right?
I mean, and I'm thinking I'm in shape. And the more that I learn about longevity and taking care of yourself, and I joke that I'm going to live to 115, with the supplements that I take and just staying physically fit. And I think it's important. It keeps me sharp, and almost as a role model. I've got 150 employees now,
right, and family,
yeah, and so it's a big part of my life.
So what's your body weight now?
So I'm right at 205. And
are you happy there?
I probably could be a little bit lighter, but I'll just say that it's the red wine that is keeping me above 200.
Well, that's okay because you produce it, right?
Yeah.
So that's a win-win for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's funny. I was thinking after I saw you on Saturday, there's some classmates that I stay in contact with, and, when I look through some of the yearbook or I should say when I see people I haven't seen in a long time, and then I see the people who are staying in shape, there's a huge difference.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, I look around and I see you and I'm like, you don't look your age. And then we, and obviously, I'm not going to say names on a podcast, but we run into people and you might look at them and go, what happened?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, well, that's what happened.
Yeah.
They didn't take care of themselves.
Right.
They quit fitness. And these, some of the guys we knew that were real athletic in high school are like, you look at now and they're out of shape. But more importantly than that, because that's pretty obvious, they look old.
Right.
Isn't that discouraging in a way? Like, isn't that like alarming to you?
You would think. And man, when I say our healthcare system is broke, man, I just think it's our overall society is broke. When you look at just obesity and the cause of everything that's related to that, diabetes and heart disease. I mean, you can go on and on. So
all comes from being obese.
Yeah.
And it's like that message though isn't, the message is kind of getting out there, but for some reason it's not being followed like we want it to. I have a client I've had for a long time, Jerry Johnson. He owns Johnson.
Yeah, absolutely.
He always says to me, hey, Cappy, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
Yeah.
And he's in his mid-80s and he's still working out with me.
That's
he's been
awesome.
working out 25 years. I mean, he's not the epitome of like body shape because he likes to drink and eat, but he's fit and he stays after it. He stays active. And I just think a lot of these like different sports that we do, like whether it be cycling, running, working out, 5Ks, whatever, crew. I know people that do rowing and stuff, it's just such a great lifestyle,
Agreed.
And your Mayor's Fitness Challenge, I can't get over how successful that was. I think that's when I started hearing about you again, was in the fitness world anyway, because people were telling me like how successful that was, and I just helped the Daytona Beach Shores Mayor's Fitness Challenge, a good client of ours, Nancy Miller, the mayor, get that off. And it was so fun. I showed up and I did their basically their technique classes for strength training, and those people were so nice, and it was very successful. And I kept telling them over there, and they agreed. But I say, you need to get in touch with Adam because he ran such a successful program down there. And Nancy Maddox.
Yeah, Nancy's amazing.
Yeah, so she's running that over there. So she says, "Oh, I know, I worked with Adam." Yeah. So she took a lot of your blueprints and perfect. Used them. So I mean, to me, that's such like a great role model what you did, and now there's a blueprint that other mayors are using, and I just think awesome. That is awesome. Yeah. That's great. So let's talk a little bit about Sonapa.
Sure.
Right. So I believe. Well, I'll let you tell. Like, how did that get started?
Well, Sonapa is it's kind of the combination of the fact that I fell in love. I've got two passions really. One is fitness. I'm passionate about it. The other, I fell in love with drinking wine, specifically from Sonoma County.
It's a good thing you're into fitness then.
Exactly. And it kind of balances it out. But so wines from Sonoma County, Napa Valley, hence the name Sonapa. And we started out really as just a small tapas restaurant. And since then, we have had some very good chefs working for us. And so now, where we were heavily focused on just wine, now wine is a complement. And we have what I call a chef-inspired Northern California cuisine. We've got 3 locations: New Smyrna Beach, Ormond Beach, Jacksonville Beach. And I'll tell you what, being fit to be able to run 3 restaurants is absolutely important.
Now, were you considering opening up one in Georgia, or I thought you were.
No, so we're looking at a 4th location, and my goal is to have the 4th location on the east coast of Florida.
Okay.
And so
I don't know why I thought Georgia.
Yeah, I don't know. That's all right. Yeah.
Maybe one day. No, Florida's good.
Yeah.
So did it begin at Norwood's? Is that or am I mistaking that when you had the restaurant out at the...
Yeah, so we our first location was in the public shopping center.
Okay.
And it was 1,600 square foot, and in 2000, and so then it was basically a tapas restaurant, again with the wine focus, and then we moved to the location that we're at now in 2010, and we've been there, ever since, and it's been fantastic. And I feel that we've gotten a little bit better every year, and then lo and behold, we opened our 2nd location in the middle of COVID up in the Trail Shopping Center, and then we just had a location fall into our lap with Jacksonville Beach, and opened that at the tail end of COVID. So
it's an excellent restaurant. I went there on my last birthday, which is December 21st. So last year, that's where I went. It's a great restaurant. We love going there. So you also put on a 5K.
Yeah, we put on a 5K. We've done it 2 years in a row. This last year was in the middle of October, and we call it the Happy Hour 5K.
Yeah, and it was maybe 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
Yeah, we did it. It was a little bit later, so that way when people finished up, we had live music at the end, a band, and then get a couple glasses of wine with the entrance. So it was really a cool event. The Running Elements helped put that on for us, and they do such a good job here and throughout Volusia County putting on events. Juan and Katrina, so they did a great job for us, and yes, we will be doing it again next year. The restaurants, we close on Sundays, which is something new for the Ormond location, so it'll likely be on a Sunday where we can just have the whole restaurant open for an after party.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
So, like I said, you're in good shape. You're very fit. So tell everybody how you do that. So what's your fitness routine?
Yep. So right now, my fitness routine is I typically get up every morning. I take a whole host of supplements.
Yeah, tell me about those. You mentioned those earlier. What do you take?
So metformin. Have you heard
much
about metformin? Mm-hmm. It's kind of I don't know if they call it a wonder drug, but it's a prescription drug, and it's like a glucose inhibitor, I think, and, for pre-diabetes. But it's also with everything that I've read about longevity, it's a drug that will help with longevity. I take that. I take NAD. I take creatine every day, DHEA. I take about 15 supplements as my daily routine. And then I'll hit the gym. I typically do 3 to 4 days of strength training each week. And, mostly it's, I do a lot of functional fitness. And I know you just had your podcast on functional fitness.
Yeah, so you're doing a lot of that functional, right? Like squats and...
Yep.
Good.
And then I like to get on the bike. Right now, I'm probably getting on the bike 2-3 days a week, and I also will run 2 or 3 days a week.
Where do you ride? Do you ever ride down at the Edgewater Trail?
Oh, that's 90% of where I ride.
Me too.
90%. In fact, a few times, I would say back when I was training for Ironman, I know this sounds crazy, but I was riding 200 to 250 miles a week.
Right.
And now that's diminished down. If I get 100 miles a week, that's pretty good.
That's still good.
Yeah.
Now, how much are you running?
I run probably about 2 to 3 days a week, and it's really just I usually get out and I'll run 3 miles in the morning, just a little loop around my house.
That's perfect, because I know you were having some knee issues there for a while.
Yep.
So the cycling's a lot easier on them for sure, right?
Yep. And so I've been taking a peptide, and I don't know if they're going to continue producing it, but it's a BP 157. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
Yeah, and I heard rumors that they're going to stop.
Is it helping with your inflammation and?
I think it helps with inflammation, and I will say one thing. So the gym that I go to is PureFit, and they now have 2 cold plunge tubs,
right?
And that helps with inflammation.
Are you jumping in?
I'm doing it not as consistently as I want to.
That can be hard.
Oh yeah. So I think my executive chef Sean, who did the race with us,
I met him. Yes.
And he was talking about he's going to do January. His challenge is a 30-day cold plunge challenge. So I said, all right, I'm right there with you.
So you like to jump right in?
I'm going to just
literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
And I think that it's one tub is at 43, 44 degrees, and the other is at I think 50.
Man, it's hard, I listened to this podcast, and the guy always talks about, like, when he finishes his shower, just to turn it all the way cold for the last few minutes, and I'm like, that's hard enough.
I hate it.
I couldn't even imagine jumping in a tub of 40-something degrees, but it's supposed to be really good for you, and, like, just doing that hard discipline,
right?
You know what I mean? Just, like, telling yourself, I can do this, I have a friend I told that to. It's funny, she laughed and said, there's a lot of dumb stuff I can do, but why do I have to do that? I'm like, well, that's a good point. But I don't know, sometimes just doing things that like feel really hard, leaves you feeling like I can do this. And I think that's sort of the allure of ultras and Ironmans and triathlons. Like, I had 2 professors in college at UCF, and I believe you went to UCF. Yeah. And this was when I got my master's in ex-phys. It was Mr. Gurgley and Dr. Roeder. And I remember one of my first days in school, they were giving a lecture, and they were talking about how he did the Hawaiian Ironman twice, and after the age of 60, so it was pretty good. And he said, when I did this, I then knew I could do anything. So, like, he applied it to every aspect of his life.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Every aspect. And, I listened to David Goggins.
He's great. I'm reading his book now, Never Finished.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And then also Jocko Willink. And, it's when you don't feel like doing something.
Right.
That's your mind telling you to be lazy, to sit on the couch. It's the days that you, just don't want to do it. Get up and get it done. Get after it.
Get hard, right?
Yeah.
Is that what he says?
Stay hard.
Stay hard, that's it, yeah. Yeah, he's I just read that he set the pull-up record.
Something crazy.
24 hours, 6,000? I got to look at that. Maybe 5,500. And I was reading where he said he didn't get it the first time he tried because he lost focus.
Right.
And then the second time around, he literally put a cup on his desk where he can sip a straw, so he didn't have to raise his arm. That's how prepared he was to break this record.
I know. It's crazy stuff, but it's all about
Yeah,
I'm sitting here looking at mindsets and everything. Yeah.
And he comes from a background where he was overweight at one time and troubled, so it's like sometimes people think everybody's born elite, but that's really not true, is it? You got to work at it.
Yeah, I think about back when I was mayor and 225 pounds, and then when I got on the scale and the metrics, it's like, man, I was overweight. I mean, I was considered obese by my
BMI standards.
BMI standards, but I didn't know how out of shape I was, and so my fitness journey really, I look at it as I started in about 2012 or 2012, and really, so for the past 11 years has really been my fitness journey, and then really when it got to the 2015, but it doesn't happen.
But you never did nothing, right?
Well, there's a period of time, maybe.
Like maybe in college, were you staying pretty active?
Yeah, and I was, intramurals. And,
Did you play intramural basketball? Because that was your deal. Yeah. So I mean, anybody can do it, right? I mean, not everybody can be like ripped and shredded and run a 16-minute 5K, but everybody can get better. I tell people all the time.
Yeah.
That to me. Like, I've always seen you as being in good shape, but I do think from what I've seen now, you're in better shape than maybe even a few years ago.
Yes.
And it's like, it's pretty cool when people continue to get in better shape as they age.
It's a good thing.
It's a very good thing. So, let's see, last part. What would you like to tell everybody? Like, what would be your message out there? So, like, I really want everybody to figure out something that motivates them, right? So you're motivated. It kind of sounds like by longevity, living a more quality life as you continue to get older. So what would be like your message to them?
I think the message is when you limiting beliefs. Because you said not everybody could get ripped, not everybody could run. But I think that's somewhat of a limiting belief, because I believe everybody could. It's just a matter of what a particular person wants to do with their life. And there's going through with the Mayor's Fitness Challenge, and there are so many people that they didn't do a sit up or a jumping jack since high school when you were required to take PE.
Right.
So it was really cool to see some of these people for the first time in 30 years doing a jumping jack. I mean, something as simple as that, and it's just taking that first step towards fitness. And I'm telling you, take those limiting beliefs off, because anybody could get into shape if they want to.
Absolutely. So I think better put would be not everybody has to get like ripped and shredded to be healthy and fit.
Correct.
Right? There's a lot of different variables of physical fitness, like when I was in junior high school and early part of high school, I went through this chubby phase. It was like, if you would ask me, hey, are you going to do a bodybuilding show when you're 26? I'd be like, no. So you're exactly right. And then we find our way. Yeah. And you're right, the limiting beliefs, that's good. I really like that. Everybody should probably think about that, including myself. So, because what we tell ourselves ultimately can become our reality. Yeah. And if we tell ourselves, we can get healthier, we can become more fit. Because, too many people do think when you're in good shape that it's easy, right? And it's like, it's not true. Like I tell people all the time, it's like, because I'll be told a lot, I'll say, well, you've got great genetics. And I'll say, well, tell the 14-year-old me that. And I would have told you no. It's like,
no, and I remember that. I remember growing up and us playing football on the side of your house.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And you've come a long way since then.
Yeah, so it's like we have genetics, but it's like, it's very hard to pinpoint what all the different factors are. But it's like, it takes work to be in shape, and it's like, if you want it though, you can do it. And I just think it's so worth it. Like, I'm sure you feel good going to different events knowing that you can, You know, I don't know if I'm pretty sure you're into sports, but like, let's say you're climbing an arena and feel like you can get to the top and be like, oh, this is fine, where maybe some of your friends are huffing and puffing on the way up.
Yeah.
You know?
Something as simple as that.
Something as simple as that. Like, it pays off in everything that you do.
Yes.
All right, so we heard Adam's goal for 2024. He's going to be doing the challenge, 5K the night before, the sprint triathlon,
the relay, and the half distance.
Damn, that's a lot. I mean, I'd commit to that, but it's like, that's
Come on,
a lot.
You commit to it.
All right, it's part of it.
Okay, all right.
Part of it. But that sounds like a great goal, and we will keep checking up on them. And thank you, Adam. It was a great interview,
thanks for
great guest,
me.
man.
It's good to reconnect and good to see you.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And Lynn has her MBA. That's what we want. True pros. They can be reached at 386-451-2412. And now let me thank Overhead Door of Daytona Beach. Zach and Jeff Hawk are the owners, and they are the best in the business, product-wise and service-wise. So let's give them a shout out at overheaddordaytona.com.